Hey fourth graders, today we're going to move on to the next step of your pottery project. You should have finished your video questions by now. If you are finished with your video questions, you need to get them checked with the sub before you can move on to this step. If you are not sure if you have gotten yours checked by the sub, you should check to see if there is a star in the corner of your paper. That's my way of showing you've checked in with me. Please make sure that you've used the videos to answer those questions and checked that they are correct before moving on. If you're ready, you need to get two papers from the front table. The first is a paper with some questions to help you think about your sketch ideas. The second has some visuals to help you as you come up with designs. Please do not write on this paper, and please make sure you return it at the end of class so other fourth graders can use it. Let's talk a little bit more about this piece of paper. I want you to come up with some plans or ideas for who and what you will include on your project. So the first thing I want you to decide is if you're going to do black figure or red figure. Remember, black figure means that your people are black. And red figure means that your people are red. You can't do both, so you need to decide, not red, people, which one you want to choose. If I'm choosing black, I'm going to circle black. Then it asks you, what Greek gods will you show? Some people have said, Miss Bergman, does it have to be a god? Could it be a demigod? Could it be a mythological creature? As long as it is something that belongs in Greek mythology, that's okay. If you are doing something like Dracula, which doesn't belong in mythology, that's not okay. So let's say I choose Zeus. Maybe I want to have more than one. Maybe I want to have Zeus and Hercules. Again, your choice. Step number 3, what story will you tell, or what symbols will you use? So I have a choice right now. I can just show Zeus, or maybe I want a specific instance where Zeus and Hercules were interacting. If I want to say the story about Zeus and Hercules, I'm going to write that here. Maybe I just want to show Zeus. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research to help me know what things could I use to represent Zeus. If you're trying to learn more about your god or more about your story, one thing that would be very helpful for you would be your Chromebook. In your Chromebook, you can go ahead and open up Google Classroom. And if you're looking at Google Classroom, you'll find that there are lots of resources to help you learn more about the god or goddess that could be involved in your story. So if you're looking at the Google Classroom, you'll notice that there are lots of links that you can click on to learn more about that story. See if you can find out some different things that would be symbols for them, maybe stories that they're involved in, and use that to help you with that step. So maybe I find out that Zeus has a symbol, and it is a lightning bolts. I can draw a picture of the symbol, I can write about the symbol, really up to you, and decide what that would look like. Then it says to draw 2 patterns that you will use on your pottery. Greek pottery was known for its patterns, so you want to be looking at some of those ideas on the back of your green sheet. Maybe you can even connect a pattern with your god. For example, Poseidon, water, would be a great pattern to use. Zeus is lightning. One of these patterns would be great. Maybe I have Athena. Her symbol is an olive branch. That would be great to incorporate. So I'm going to try out 2 of these patterns. Now, some of the patterns are a little bit tricky. So you want to try out some patterns to decide if they're a good fit for your ability level. If I find out that when I do this pattern, it's really hard, I have the option of trying it again, or I have the option of picking another pattern, but I can learn from that mistake. That's still not what I was trying to do. That was the pattern I wanted, so I might want to try it again to see if I can get a little better. But pick 2 patterns and try them here. The last thing you want to do today is start coming out with some ideas of how your project's going to look. You can do this on the back or in your sketchbook. I used some Sharpies, so obviously I'm not going to use the back. You're using a pencil today. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my sketchbook. Now, your sketchbook has a whole bunch of blank pages in it, and today is the place where you want to explore, make mistakes, try new things, and get better. The first thing I need to do is decide which vessel is the best vessel for me. Now, I might think about what I want to show and use that to help me. For example, if I have a lot of characters, I want to choose a vessel that has a large body. If I only have one character, I might choose a vessel that's more narrow and slender. Maybe I want to show that I'm in the Mount Olympus and the underworld. Maybe I want to choose a vessel with 2 different sections. That might be helpful for you. You don't have to be an expert at drawing, but try to draw that vessel as accurately as you can. Try to think about the shape that you would use and the parts you would include. Does it have a foot? Does it have a lip? Does it have some handles? Where are the handles attached? How do they look? And think about making sure you're showing that. Once I have my vessel shape done, I want to decide how to show the body of my God. This is where you might want to go back to Google Classroom, and you might want to go ahead and use the mannequin. The mannequin is listed under our videos, and you can use this to put your person in the pose that you would like them to be. So maybe Zeus is leaning over and he is throwing a lightning bolt. So how would his arms look? How would his feet look? Maybe he has one foot forward since he's throwing, and his knee is bent a little so he doesn't fall over. But I can use this to help me think about what would that person look like if they were doing that action. And then I can use that to help me as I sketch out. So this is going to be up in front of me, and I'm going to go ahead and do a quick gesture drawing. I'm just trying to decide on how that body is going to be looking, how that body is going to be posing, and I'm going to try to get those pieces correct. I just did the foot wrong, that's okay. I'm going to put my arm on, I'm going to put my other arm on, and decide where my head's going to go. After I get my gesture sketch done, I'm going to try out some of my patterns, decide where I'm placing those. Maybe I want to have one on the top, maybe I want to have one along the foot, and I can go ahead and get that started. The last thing I want you to do today, after you do a messy sketch, is I want you to go ahead and do a really good sketch of your person. So if I were doing Zeus, I still might start out with a gesture sketch very lightly, but then I want to go ahead and also think about how am I going to go ahead and start to add more detail to this person's body. For example, what does Zeus's head look like? What do his clothes look like? What do his muscles look like? His feet look like? And those things might be a little bit trickier for you. You're probably going to make mistakes, but I want you to try to push yourself to draw a realistic person. You can use the top link in Google Classroom to learn more about hairstyles and clothing that the ancient Greeks wore, and to help you get a better idea of how you might show their hair or body or clothes. Right now I'm drawing Zeus, so I want to go ahead and think about how would his arms look, how would his lightning bolt look, how would his toga look, how would the texture of that toga look. And I'm just going in and kind of filling in those little steps. How would his face look? How would his hair look? How would his eyes and mouth look? And making this more realistic. And that way, when I go to do my final sketch, I have a really good idea of how this wants to look. If this doesn't look great, flip to a new page and try again. But the point is, practice here so when you go on to the final, you have a really great idea of how you're going to show that person. Can't wait to see you next week. Have fun.